Yo, I just got some information myself, man, because it was strange to me that every month he's going up for a bail hearing. And I know that that seems strange to a lot of people.
Live, a judge has denied bail for Sean Diddy Combs. Of course, this was the hip-hop mogul's latest bid for freedom as he remains in federal jail for his racketeering and sex trafficking case.
The game might finally be over for Diddy, as a no-nonsense judge steps into the spotlight and tightens the grip on one of the most jaw-dropping cases the entertainment world has ever seen. This is the story everyone's watching, the courtroom drama that's sending shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond. With decades of glitz and glamour now overshadowed by grim allegations, Diddy's once untouchable empire is teetering on the edge of collapse. And at the center of it all, a judge with a reputation for being as relentless as they come.
So yesterday, Monday, Diddy celebrated his 55th birthday, but this year was a lot different. It was no Diddy parties. It was none of that. None of that stuff. Well, happily, so I guess right now. But anyway, so this is his first birthday behind bars.
Let's set the stage. Sean Diddy Combs, a name synonymous with luxury, power, and influence, now finds himself locked away, fighting for his life in court. But unlike the flashy arenas he's used to commanding, this courtroom has no VIP sections or private suites. The newest chapter in this saga began when Judge Arun Subramanian, known for his razor-sharp legal mind and no-nonsense approach, took over the case. And let's just say, this isn't the type of judge who's swayed by celebrity status or a sparkling resume. Subramanian has already made one thing crystal clear: he's not here to play games. In his most recent ruling, he denied Diddy's third attempt at bail, delivering a decision that sent shockwaves through the mogul's camp. According to court insiders, the judge was blunt and unequivocal, stating there is compelling evidence that Diddy poses a threat to the community. He pointed directly to allegations of witness interference and a deeply troubling history of intimidation. And let's not forget the infamous 2016 video showing Diddy in a violent altercation with his former partner, Cassie Ventura. Subramanian didn't mince words, calling it direct evidence of Combs' propensity for violence. This ruling wasn't just a denial of freedom, it was a declaration that the court won't be bending to wealth or influence.
You got a lot of money and they got lawyers that can come up with different reasons and different information and present it to the courts that they are able to get how many bail hearings, as long as you got different information to present to the court, different evidence.
But who is this judge, and why is his name suddenly striking fear into Diddy's legal team? Subramanian has built a reputation as a force to be reckoned with, someone who refuses to back down from high-stakes cases. He's no stranger to taking on powerful figures, and his courtroom track record speaks for itself. Insiders say he's meticulous, fair, but absolutely unyielding when it comes to ensuring justice is served. For a case steeped in allegations of coercion, manipulation, and abuse, having Subramanian at the helm might just be the worst-case scenario for Diddy. And sources close to the case are already whispering that his lawyers are feeling the heat.
So you got to realize he got a lot of money. He still got a lot of money because he's paying these high-profile lawyers to take this case. So in having them to take this case, they're able to construct a lot of information together to making sure that when they go to the courts, they can say, yo, Your Honor, listen here, this is something that's changed, this is something that's new, this is something that's different.
Diddy's defense team, which boasts some of the most high-powered attorneys money can buy, is reportedly scrambling behind the scenes. The courtroom losses are stacking up, and with each ruling, the walls seem to be closing in. Let's not forget, this is their third failed attempt to secure bail for their client. Despite offering an eye-popping $50 million currency package that included house, arrest in a luxury Manhattan apartment, and round-the-clock private security, Judge Subramanian, however, wasn't impressed. He dismissed the proposal, suggesting that no amount of wealth or privilege could ensure Diddy would follow the rules. According to one source familiar with the judge, he's not going to let anyone buy their way out of accountability.
It looked like he might get bail. Now you're wondering why I'm saying that. See, they are trying to use some of the things that happen to criminals all the time, or inmates all the time. They always, brother, they always do those impromptu searches.
And it's not just the judge that has Diddy's team sweating. There's mounting pressure from prosecutors, who have painted a damning picture of the music mogul's alleged behavior while in custody. Reports surfaced that Diddy has been using other inmates' phone accounts to bypass monitoring and contacting people he's explicitly prohibited from communicating with. Even more shocking are claims that he's been orchestrating attempts to influence witnesses from behind bars. According to Assistant U.S. Attorney Christy Slavic, handwritten notes seized from Diddy's jail cell included instructions to find incriminating information on his accusers. Slavic didn't hold back in court, calling it a blatant effort to obstruct justice. And while Diddy's lawyers have argued that these notes were protected under attorney-client privilege, the judge ruled otherwise, allowing the prosecution to keep the documents as evidence. For Diddy, this was a devastating blow, one that only adds to the growing mountain of legal troubles.
And in this particular case, they said that when they did the impromptu search, well, they took some of his legal information. And the judge ordered them to give that back. So I guess the lawyers are going to come up with a couple of new things saying that he can't properly, have his case.
But let's not forget the drama surrounding that infamous jail cell search. Diddy's legal team has been crying foul, accusing the Bureau of Prisons of violating their clients' constitutional rights by seizing private materials. Mark Agnifilo, one of Diddy's attorneys, called the search a complete institutional failure and demanded access to surveillance footage of the incident. He even floated the idea that the entire prosecution team might need to be recused, or that the case itself could be dismissed. Bold claims, no doubt, but so far the court isn't buying it. Instead, Judge Subramanian has ordered the notes to be preserved while both sides hash out the legal implications. For now, though, the contents of those pages loom large over the case, casting an even darker shadow over Diddy's fight for freedom.
I don't believe none of that to be true. I believe that they went in there just like they do all the other inmates based on the information they had. You got to realize this, bro. They found out that Diddy was using other inmates' phone cards. Now, that probably happens all the time.
And speaking of shadows, let's talk about the growing list of accusers who have come forward in recent months. The allegations are as shocking as they are numerous, with over 100 individuals now represented by attorney Tony Buzbee. According to Buzbee, Diddy's infamous freak-off parties weren't just wild celebrity gatherings, they were allegedly the backdrop for deeply disturbing behavior. Buzbee has even begun sending demand letters to high-profile celebrities who attended these events, warning them to settle out of court or face lawsuits. The implication that anyone who stood by and did nothing during these gatherings is complicit in the alleged wrongdoing. It's a bold strategy, and one that could have serious ripple effects across Hollywood.
Wait a minute, say that again. Say that again, back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but
yes.
The shopping thing is
yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of.
But back to the courtroom, where the stakes couldn't be higher. Judge Subramanian's rulings are setting the tone for what promises to be a groundbreaking trial. Legal experts are already speculating that this case could set a new precedent, not just for celebrity accountability, but for how the justice system handles cases involving wealth and influence. And while Diddy's legal team continues to fight tooth and nail, the signs aren't looking good. As one legal analyst put it, this judge isn't just overseeing a case, he's making a statement.
It sounds like there was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes, this was actually in his Atlanta home, at a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video, so to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. It doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotaping.
For now, Diddy remains behind bars, a far cry from the lavish lifestyle he once flaunted. The courtroom battles are far from over, but with each passing day, it's becoming harder to imagine a scenario where he walks away unscathed. And as the trial date inches closer, all eyes will be on Judge Subramanian and the decisions he makes in the weeks and months to come. Will Diddy's legal team find a way to turn the tide, or is this truly the beginning of the end for one of hip-hop's most iconic figures? One thing's for sure, this is a story that's far from finished.
Did in fact occur, their argument is more than likely going to be that this activity was consensual, that this person was a willing participant, and not only that, but that these individuals assumed the risk of being present at those parties, of engaging and voluntarily engaging in the conduct and being in those spaces, consuming alcohol and things of that nature.
As the scene shifts from the courtroom to the jail cell, the focus turns to Diddy's current reality. And trust us, it's a world away from the red carpets and private jets he once called home. Diddy's world has completely unraveled. Gone are the days of private jets, designer suits, and all-night soirees. Now, the man who once ruled hip-hop is confined to a stark and claustrophobic room in Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center. But here's the kicker, despite his fall from grace, Diddy's story is far from over. If anything, things are only just heating up. The grim reality he's facing inside those prison walls is one thing, but the storm brewing outside, that's a whole other beast. Let's break it all down.
Still pretty early in the proceedings. I think it's only been about a month or a month and a half since he's been arraigned and held in detention. And so the investigations are always going to be a continuous and ongoing process. I'm sure at this point there's been an exchange of discovery. And not only that, but I think there's been a gag order placed on the attorneys with information that they can and cannot share. But more importantly,
Picture this. A man who once lived in sprawling mansions now spends his days in a cramped cell, reportedly sharing space with other detainees in conditions that are anything but glamorous. The Metropolitan Detention Center isn't exactly known for its hospitality. Overcrowding, limited access to basic amenities, and the lack of privacy are just the tip of the iceberg. Rumors have even swirled that Diddy has been placed in a section reserved for high-profile detainees or those who require special protection. But make no mistake, this is not the life he's used to. Sources close to the situation have whispered that Diddy has already lost a noticeable amount of weight and appears visibly aged. One insider claimed he's no longer the confident, larger-than-life figure we used to see on stage. He looks like a man who knows he's in serious trouble.
At the courthouse in Lower Manhattan, the judge ordering the prosecution to turn over its findings from a jail cell raid, Diddy's jail cell, just yesterday. What were the contents of those raids?
Well, apparently, according to the defense, they're legal documents. The government saying no, on the contrary, they're just some handwritten notes and a calendar.
But let's not forget the power dynamics inside. Even in jail, Diddy's celebrity status makes him both a target and a point of fascination. Stories have surfaced about other inmates trying to get close to him, whether out of curiosity, admiration, or ulterior motives. And while his legal team has fought tirelessly to secure his release, offering everything from house arrest to a security team that would monitor his every move, the courts have remained steadfast. Judge Subramanian's refusal to grant bail sent a clear message. No one, not even someone as influential as Diddy, is above the law. For now, he's stuck in a place where his wealth and connections mean nothing.
That's it. If it is privilege, of course they won't. But if it really is what the prosecution says that has nothing to do with the case, or even worse, it's actually evidence of witness tampering, because we all know the attorney-client privilege, there's a crime fraud exception. You can't use your lawyer to perpetuate a future or continuing fraud or crime. So if the documents are what the government says they are, they're going to get them again. And again, it's just going to be a matter of days, because I don't expect it.
But while the conditions inside are harsh, the real chaos is happening on the outside. The sheer volume of allegations against Diddy has created a feeding frenzy in the media. Every day, it seems like a new accuser or shocking revelation comes to light. And let's not forget the swirling rumors about the celebrities who were allegedly part of his infamous gatherings. High-profile names like Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Jennifer Lopez have been dragged in the narrative, not because they're directly accused of wrongdoing, but because their association with Diddy is enough to raise eyebrows. Attorney Tony Busby, who represents over 100 alleged victims, has made it clear that even those who were bystanders at these gatherings are not off the hook. He's gone on record saying silence in the face of wrongdoing is complicity. If you were there and you saw things happening and did nothing, you're just as responsible.
So there's a few things going on. First is the privilege issue. The judge will decide whether the documents are privileged or not. If they're not, they're going to go to the government. If the documents are not only not privileged, but they're evidence of witness tampering, then a few things can happen, all of which are bad for Sean Diddy Combs. Okay. First, of course, he could face obstruction of justice charges in a superseding indictment.
This has sent shockwaves through Hollywood, with insiders claiming that some of Diddy's former associates are now scrambling to distance themselves. Social media accounts are being scrubbed, private conversations are being held, and the once tight circle of celebrity camaraderie around Diddy is starting to crumble. One unnamed source revealed, people are terrified. No one knows how deep this investigation will go or who might be next to get caught up in the fallout. And it's not just the star's business executives, event planners, and even former staffers are reportedly lawyering up, bracing for the possibility that they might be called to testify or worse, face legal action themselves.
They probably didn't see these notes and they never will.
But if you're Diddy, don't you want your notes back?
Yeah.
If you've spent so many hours gathering evidence for your side or, strategy or whatever, for me, I'd be oh no, please don't destroy, please return.
But let's zoom out for a moment. At the heart of this entire saga lies one question: how did things get to this point? For years, Diddy was seen as a symbol of success, someone who had built an empire from the ground up. From his record label to his fashion line, he was the epitome of the American dream. But now that same empire is being scrutinized for allegedly enabling years of misconduct. Prosecutors have painted a picture of a man who used his wealth and influence to manipulate and control those around him. They've described his gatherings as meticulously planned operations, complete with hired staff to ensure everything ran smoothly. And while Diddy's legal team has vehemently denied these claims, the sheer number of accusations has made it increasingly difficult to mount a convincing defense.
He doesn't kind of buy what the prosecution's selling. He thinks they've looked at the notes.
Yeah.
He thinks that they're cheating.
I mean, I would think that too.
But apparently, what happened is commonplace.
Adding to the pressure are the civil lawsuits, which show no signs of slowing down. Each new filing brings fresh details that further complicate Diddy's case. One of the more recent claims comes from a former employee who alleges that they were forced to participate in activities that left them deeply traumatized. Another accuser has stated that they were threatened into silence, with Diddy allegedly warning them that he could make them disappear if they ever spoke out. These allegations, while unproven, are stacking up in a way that makes it nearly impossible for Diddy to escape public scrutiny. What's even more shocking is the growing chatter about the alleged involvement of certain high-profile associates who may have enabled or turned a blind eye to Diddy's actions. Multiple reports have hinted that some of his closest collaborators in confidence could soon face subpoenas, forcing them to testify about what they witnessed. According to one insider, there are people who were in the room, people who knew what was happening, and now they're being dragged into this mess. This has created a ripple effect in the entertainment world, with many individuals distancing themselves from Diddy to avoid being caught in the crossfire. But legal experts say it might already be too late for some of them, as prosecutors are reportedly building a case against not just Diddy, but those who allegedly facilitated his behavior. Adding fuel to the fire, rumors have surfaced about secret recordings that may further implicate Diddy and some of his associates. These recordings, according to an anonymous source, allegedly capture behind-the-scenes conversations where plans for his infamous gatherings were openly discussed. While these claims remain unverified, the potential existence of such evidence has sent shockwaves through his legal team, who have reportedly been scrambling to preemptively discredit any tapes that might surface.
We're monitoring another push to free Sean Diddy Combs tonight, with his legal team citing new evidence in an updated bail proposal. The music mogul agreeing to around-the-clock security and cutting out contact with basically anyone but his legal team to get out of jail ahead of his trial scheduled for May of next year for charges he allegedly coerced and abused women for years.
Meanwhile, the financial fallout from this scandal is becoming impossible to ignore. Several of Diddy's business ventures have already taken a hit, with sponsors, brand partners, and collaborators pulling back from any association with his name. His once thriving empire, which spanned music, fashion, and media, now faces an uncertain future. Even his most loyal supporters are said to be questioning whether they can continue working with someone under such intense scrutiny. A former associate remarked, "The brands associated with Diddy were built on an image of success, luxury, and power. Now, all anyone sees is scandal and controversy. It's hard to see how he comes back from this."
Everybody familiar with the old Houdini? So what Diddy's lawyers are trying to do is pull a Houdini. They're trying to say that the evidence that they have is different. Well, it's not different. The video that the entire world has seen is not going to go away. The fact that he had parties that were freak-offs is not going away. So it's just a question of whether or not Diddy is able.
And then there's the infamous video. Captured in 2016 and leaked earlier this year, the footage shows Diddy in a heated altercation with Cassie Ventura, his former partner. While Diddy's lawyers have argued that the video is being taken out of context, the imagery is hard to ignore. Prosecutors have used it as evidence to support their claims of a pattern of behavior, and it's become a focal point in the court of public opinion. One legal analyst commented, "The video is damning. Even if it doesn't directly relate to the charges he's facing, it reinforces the narrative that he's someone who uses intimidation and aggression to get his way."
Then if he does, this new, quote, robust bail package, you can avoid and evade. And he is very connected with people that can help him avoid and evade. I'm not saying he will, but I would be surprised if the court grants him a bond. When the federal government wants you detained, you are normally detained, and here it was a very far-reaching situation that he was involved.
Meanwhile, Diddy's family has tried to rally around him, but even that hasn't been without controversy. Prosecutors have accused him of orchestrating a social media campaign from behind bars, allegedly involving his children in an effort to sway public opinion. They have pointed to posts celebrating his birthday as evidence that he's still trying to control the narrative, even while incarcerated. Diddy's legal team has pushed back, arguing that these claims are a stretch and that their client has every right to maintain a relationship with his family. But the damage has already been done. For many, the idea of involving his children in such a high-stakes situation has only further tarnished his reputation.
Both sides in the Sean Diddy Combs case have until today to give answers for how the music mogul has been communicating from jail. Combs appearing in court last Friday seeking bail while he awaits trial. He's been held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn since September.
So where does this leave Diddy? For now, he remains in custody, awaiting a trial that could very well determine the rest of his life. Legal experts have speculated that his team might pursue a plea deal, but that would require admitting guilt, something Diddy has been adamant about avoiding. On the other hand, taking the case to trial is a massive gamble. The prosecution appears to have a mountain of evidence, and with each passing day, public sentiment seems to turn further against him. One attorney familiar with the case remarked, "It's a lose-lose situation." If he pleads, he's admitting to something that could destroy his legacy. If he goes to trial and loses, he's looking at a lifetime behind bars. And let's not overlook the broader implications of this case. Diddy's downfall has sparked a larger conversation about accountability in the entertainment industry. For years, powerful figures have operated with impunity, shielded by their status and wealth. But as more victims come forward and more high-profile cases make headlines, the culture of silence that once protected these individuals is starting to crack. Diddy's trial could very well be a tipping point, a moment that forces the industry to take a hard look at itself and make meaningful changes.
The defense denying these claims and is pushing for his release under strict conditions, including a $50 million bond and 24/7 monitoring at a secured Manhattan apartment. There will be a hearing today where both sides will have a chance to clarify exactly how Combs has been connecting with the world outside his jail cell.
As the weeks go by, the tension continues to build. Will more accusers come forward? Will former allies turn against him? And perhaps most importantly, will Diddy's legal team find a way to turn the tide? Or is this truly the beginning of the end? One thing is certain, this story is far from over, and the world will be watching every step of the way. The next chapter promises to be even more explosive, with revelations that could shake the foundations of Hollywood itself. For now, all eyes are on Diddy as he faces the fight of his life, both in the courtroom and in the court of public opinion. So, as Diddy's world continues to crumble, the questions remain. Is this the end of an era for one of hip-hop's biggest icons, or will his legal team pull off a miraculous comeback? And how far will the ripples of this scandal spread through Hollywood? The comment section is open, so let the viewers know their thoughts. Until next time.